Good evening, everyone, and welcome to ATP Live Monday. This is going to be the last ATP Live for the year 2021. Wow, the year has ended already. Thank you so much for sticking with us throughout the year 2021. And I hope your kids have been healthy despite the pandemic. So we thank God for that. So please share the video, invite your friends and family, and anyone you think will benefit from this ATP Live. Remember, this is the last one, and we are shutting down by the end of Saturday, and I will see you again in 2022. Happy New Year in advance. Merry Christmas to everyone who celebrates Christmas. So let's share the video and drop your questions, and I'll be able to answer them. I'm just going to, while you're dropping your questions, try and share the video myself on all our platforms. Make sure everybody can see it. So, welcome to ATP Live and compliments of the season to every one of you. All right, just give me a few minutes and then I can make sure all the videos are in the rightful places and then we can start. All right, I think I can see this one. So if you're watching on ATP Still a Mom or you are watching on ATP Family Facebook group, please you need to click on the video itself and then you can ask your questions under the video. But if you're watching on ATP Ask the Pediatrician Facebook group itself, you can drop your questions straight under the video in the group and I'll be able to see it and answer your questions. The same thing if you are watching on the pages or on Instagram or YouTube, you can drop your questions straight away and I'll see them. But if you are not watching any of those other groups, then I need to be able to see your questions. So you will need to navigate your way. So I'm just trying to make sure I share it in all the places where it should be shared. Okay, just a few more minutes and then we can start. And then just make sure we pin it up because some people don't say things that are not pinned to the rightful places. All right. Okay. And let me select family. Just one more minute and I'll be done and I'll be with us. So please start to drop your questions so that we can answer them on time and we won't have to where am I? Okay, discussion. Okay, I can't see my video on ATP, so I don't know why. So if somebody is watching, I know our moderator, can you help me to pin the video on the group so that I can't seem to find it myself. It's always up all the time. I don't know why. Oh, I've seen it now. Yeah. Okay, I think I just need to refresh. Okay, I guess I'm done with all the pinning and all the sharing. And I can now focus on answering the questions. And I can see some of you already on Instagram, on Facebook. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to ATP Live. Like I said, it's going to be the last ATP Live for 2021. It has been an eventful year. Despite the pandemic, we're still here, and I hope all our kids are fine, which is our own goal on Ask the Pediatricians Foundation. We are for children, we are for their health, and we're for their welfare. So, we really appreciate all of you for joining us every Monday for the ATP Live, and for those of you on our Facebook group, for all those who have benefited from all our programs. Thank you so much for all our volunteers. Thank you. I'm giving you a vote of thanks because, like I said, this is going to be the last ATP Live for 2021. And the next time I'll see you on ATP Live will be in January 2022. Awesome. All right. So please drop your questions. Drop your questions. I can see Busayo Adiyemo. Thank you. Thank you. It's the last ATP live. So I'm giving it to you guys. All right. Thank you. Okay. So everybody's also giving me votes of thanks. Thank you, Facebook user. Thank you for the good work. God bless you and the entire team. Thank you. All right. So thank you, Rita. Everybody's commenting on my dressing tonight. Thank you. All right, so let's just go to our questions. Okay, thank you. We thank you. So I've got my first question now. Facebook users say we appreciate all you do. Thank you. My daughter's birth weight is 8.5. She's 9 months, so 8.5 at 9 months, okay, I guess. And at 6 months, she was 7 kilos. But I was expecting her to have gained more than 1.5 kilos within 3 months. Though she hasn't been eating well like 2 weeks, even breast milk, but she has been active, no fever. Should I be worried? The birth weight was 2.7 kilos. Okay. So thank you for your question. For those of you on the Facebook group, if you don't give StreamYard the permission, I will not see your name. So you need to give StreamYard the permission for me to be able to see your name. All right, but you know yourself anyway. So I'm not worried about your baby. Most babies around 9 months should weigh 9 kilos. But 8.5 is not too far from the mark. So let's just leave it. So it's okay. So when we say your baby should gain averagely 1 kilo per month, it is just an average gain. It doesn't mean it has to be exactly 1 kilo. I think what is more important for us is that your baby is not dropping weight, that your baby is adding weight and going up the line. So usually what we do is that we normally plot the weight of the baby and they're supposed to be on a line. As long as your child is on the line that your child is following, that's fine. And the child is not remaining the same or dropping down from that line, then that is when we should worry. And you like you rightly say, your child has obviously not been eating too well. So that may explain why your child's weight is not as um maybe not 9 kilos yet, but it's still not so worrisome. I would just say encourage the child to eat more and hopefully she will catch up. But I'm not very worried about your baby. Thank you. Okay, Kali is saying, good evening, doctor. My 2-year-old is always dull. Okay, he can't play like you before he was treated for malaria, and up to now is still dull. Okay, so the use of the word dull, I'm not really sure I'm comfortable with it, but I think I get what you're saying. Maybe your child is not as active as the child ought to be, which is not surprising. Your child has malaria. The malaria itself can make, we tend to use the word lethargic and all that, when somebody has malaria, sometimes you just feel so tired, you want to sleep, you're not as active. So it's okay. And even the medications, the medication your child takes, the side effects can also make your child look like that. So what you really need to do is just to let the child recover first. So when the child is fully recovered, then they will become more active. So just be a little bit more patient. As long as child is not having fever, no problem. But if your child is having fever or any other symptoms, not eating, then you may want to see the pediatricians. All right. Now, another Facebook user saying, my 3-year-old started sucking her right thumb since she was little until now. Please, how can I stop the habit because it's making her lose concentration at school? Yes, you say habits. Most children have such habits, either sucking the finger or sucking the tongue and all that. So it's common childhood habits. What we normally do is to encourage you to, we encourage parents to distract the children from that habit instead of shouting or calling more attention to it, then they will do it more because for some children it's like a comforting thing. They do it to comfort themselves. It's something they just do most times. Sometimes to just kind of different reasons. Some children do it to just comfort themselves. Some children do it when they're hungry, something like that. So what you can do, for me, I would say for a 3-year-old, if child is in school, give the child something else to do with that hand. If they are doing something else with their hand, it will not likely suck on their hands and all that. So, and then when the child is not doing it, you praise them. I know most parents want to put bitter leaf plaster and all that. It doesn't really work. So we don't encourage that. It's more of distraction and positive praise when the child doesn't do it, and try to figure out why is it when does the child do it, what normally happen just before the child starts sucking the hands again. So is it like when the child is bored, when the child is tired, or when the child is hungry? So if you know what, then you know what how to deal with those periods so that the child does not resort to finger sucking. But most of them tend to agree by the time they're about 4 to 6 years old. So that's what we recommend. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Thank you. And then the next question, Facebook user, my son is 23 months old, weight 15 kilos. So 15 kilos, that's a bit on the high side. We live in the Western world, okay? It is very cold. My son had cold and cough and catarrh, even wheezing. He's fine. But I noticed recently there's sound like catarrh in his chest, but no catarrh coming out. I'm still breastfeeding. What could be wrong? Already you say your child has cough and catarrh, so that could be what is wrong. And if your child is wheezing as well, then you should see a doctor, because I worry about your child who is wheezing, because the child may have a viral infection. It could be bronchiolitis, and if it's something that's recurrent, then you may want to watch out for things like bronchial asthma, especially if there's a family history of it. So since you live in the Western world, the weather is cold. During child may have flu as well, So this is time for you to actually just let the doctor see the child and make sure there's nothing. If it's just a viral infection, it's something that will blow over with time, but we need to just make sure we're not missing anything more worrisome. Then I also worry about the weight of your child. Your 2-year-old should be weighing 12 kilos. So 15 kilos is really on the high side. So you really want to watch and make sure the child doesn't, cut out junk food, make sure the child is very active. That's all. Eat healthy fruits, veggies. Just keep an eye on it so it doesn't get worse. Okay, I'm not sure who this Facebook user is. I can't see your old question. Uh, yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, okay, I think I've seen your question now. Okay, I've seen your question. I jumped it. Okay, so my baby of 4 months and 2 weeks, I want to achieve neck control. The neck is still a little bit shaky, though I gave birth with assistance of vacuum, which resulted in palsy of the right hand. We're on physiotherapy session since she was a week to today, but I'm worried about the neck control. I've seen a pediatrician and she said she isn't that worried, that I should encourage her to sit, that she will gain neck control. Okay, I definitely am worried about a 4 months old who has not gained neck control. I'm a developmental pediatrician, and I would definitely worry about a 4.5 months old who does not have neck control. There's something going on there. So, but you are also with a physiotherapist, so you're already in the right hand. So the physiotherapy should not focus only on the palsy. They need to focus on the baby's development as well. Obviously, your child had a very traumatic delivery. You obviously, because you didn't tell us, okay, were you the one that gave me the birth weight of your baby down there? 3.7 kilos. If you are the same person, 3.7 is a big baby, but then not so very big, unless you have a very tight, maybe the pelvic area, or maybe you were struggling dilating. I don't know what really happened at your delivery, but obviously from what you've told me, your child is having a palsy and now neck control. Things were really, I suspect there were a lot of things that were not going too fine during the delivery. But it's not for you to worry. What we need to do is to make sure the child gets therapy. So since you're already seeing a physiotherapy for the palsy, you still need to see the physiotherapy for the neck control as well, and then just watch. If your baby gains neck control, fine, by 6 months. If your child doesn't get neck control and all that, please see a pediatrician, preferably a pediatric neurologist or a developmental pediatrician, because we may need to check to make sure, did your baby cry at birth? You didn't tell me that. Were there other problems at birth apart from the fact that you needed to use vacuum for the baby to come out? So I just worry about what is going on with that baby, and I'm not so sure it is completely okay for your pediatrician to say your to discard your concern. How definitely I'm worried about your baby, unless your pediatrician has examined the baby and the neck control is there. Because it's one thing for you to say there's no neck control, it's another for a doctor to examine the baby and feel that there's neck control. So if the pediatrician is happy and felt there's neck control, and then that's fine. But I would just say keep on making sure somebody is monitoring that. Okay, I'll take one more question from Facebook, then I'll go to Instagram. Rita is saying, good evening. My little one has a little underbite and grinds his teeth a lot for fun. Your little one, how old is your little one? 11 months old. Okay. Is there anything that can stop? So you should see a dentist first, because um, for me, I want a professional to see your baby first before we know whether that grinding of the teeth is for fun or there's something else, because there are reasons why children grind their teeth, and sometimes we see it in children who actually have what we call subtle seizures. So let's say a dentist first, since you think it's a teeth issue, and they can tell you what to do. We actually have a group discussion on bruxism on our Facebook group, handled by a dentist. You may want to watch that video first and see a dentist. But if there are other issues with your baby, developmental wise, I would strongly recommend seeing a pediatrician as well, to be sure this is not just other things and it's just for fun. So it's very important that we're sure which one it is, because that will determine how we manage the child. All right, I hope that is helpful. Okay, so let me just quickly go to Instagram and answer some Instagram questions. Uh, let me see, let me see, let me see, let me see. Thank you everyone for joining on Instagram. Okay, the first question is by Kosi Honors. Good evening. You look very beautiful today. Thank you. Doc, my baby is 1 year, 1 month, and she has cold and she makes sounds while sleeping. I took her to the hospital. She was nebulized, but have not seen any improvement. Okay, so what did they tell you was the problem when you went to the hospital? Because it's very important for us to know what the doctors are working with, because that will determine what you need to do. So, for us to nebulize a child, we worry about two things: either we're worried about bronchiolitis or we're worried about what we call bronchial asthma, because in both conditions, there's narrowing of the airway, and what nebulization does is to open up the airway. So if you are thinking that it's not better, is it not better in the sense that the child is still struggling to breathe, or the noise, or what exactly is not better? Because that will determine what I will tell you to do. But generically, I can just say go back to the hospital, let the doctor see your baby again and decide what to do. So, but if sometimes it's just the sound and all that, we know sometimes some of them may take time before they resolve. As long as the child is not struggling to breathe and all that, we will not worry. But if the child is struggling to breathe, or the child is breathing very fast, or the child is really wheezing a lot, not just any sound, wheezing sound, like, um I don't know how to describe your waist. You can hear that sound, then you know that there's something wrong, and you definitely need to see the pediatrician for further evaluation. So, okay, I also see my money and night. I plan taking her back. I think it's a good idea to take her back to the hospital, honestly, because we're not really sure. I'm not sure. I mean, for them to have nebulized your child, I think they are worried about the child's breathing, and I really think that it's better you go back for them to see again. All right. Omalara is saying, good evening, ma'am. Please, can 10 months old baby deworm? No, we say from age 1 year. We don't deworm before age of 1 year, unless the child actually have um a worm infestation, because some people, especially those who live in rural areas, who take their babies to the farm, the babies could be exposed to worms longer. But most of the people who live in the city, really, before the age of 1 year, your baby's chance of being exposed to worm infestation is quite low. So we don't do one before the age of 1 year. So that's just the only caveat to that. And can she take light tea, Milo vaccine? No, no. So also we say the only beverage a baby below 1 year should take is uh, milk, that is the normal baby milk, and water. No other beverage should be given before the age of 1 year. So don't give that, and also don't give one when your baby is one. You can do all that. Show me for king. Thank you. Please, should the baby eat 8 times during the day or during including the night feeding? What baby are we talking about? So if you're talking about a baby who is on exclusive breastfeeding, yes. When we talk about feeding 8 times a day, we're talking about a 24-hour period. So from when baby wakes up to throughout the whole day, because they breastfeed at night as well. But usually when your babies are on complementary feeding, it is not 8 times a day. So babies on complementary feeding can breastfeed as often as they want, but their meals, the complementary feeds, usually is twice, from the age of 6 months to about 7, 8 months. When it's about 8 months, you can increase it to about 3 times a day. And then when about a year to 2 years, it goes to about 4 times a day. So it varies. So it is not 8 times a day forever. 8 times is when they are below 6 months and they are only on breast milk. Then they can breastfeed. And we also breastfeed on demand, but nothing less than 8. Sometimes it can be up to 12 times a day, as long as baby wants the breast milk. That's the only thing you can give anytime, but not the normal food. Your baby is going to get overweight as well. Okay. I hope that is clear. So feeding for children varies depending on the age. That is why one of the reasons we always stress, when you're asking questions, you need to be very specific about the age of the child, because the answer is not the same for every age group. And then Bookie Care is saying, my 2-year-old have mumps and he has been having temperature back to back. Okay. But you have not asked us any question. So you need to ask a question, because what you have just done is to provide information. So are you asking what to do? Or I'm not sure. So Bookie, can you just ask me what exactly you want us to do with that information, so I know where to go from there? Faith Samadi, good evening, doctor. Please, is it safe for breastfeeding mothers to take anti-malaria drug and still breastfeed? Yes, if you have malaria and your doctor has prescribed anti-malaria medication for you, you can take it. I know many of you are scared, because when you read the anti-malaria medication, you read that, oh, it's not suitable for breastfeeding mothers, things like Coartem, the ACT anti-malaria. Most of them write that you should not take it when you're breastfeeding. And reason why some of those manufacturers write that is because when they do test drugs, when manufacturers test drugs, they usually don't test them on pregnant women, they don't test them on breastfeeding mothers, they don't test them on babies and all that. So they are not always sure at the point when they are manufacturing the drugs whether it's okay. So they usually leave that to your doctors. So we as doctors, we can now decide, okay, is the risk. So for us as doctors, we have to say, is the risk of this mother having malaria uh, uh, is the risk worth the treatment of the malaria? So I don't know whether I'm saying it right. In other words, if we give you malaria drugs, the side effect you're going to have, compared to if we don't give you malaria drugs and you have malaria, which one is going to be worse? So, and doctors have been using anti-malaria for breastfeeding mothers, and they have been fine, and nothing has happened to their babies. So with practice, we know that it is relatively safe. But the manufacturers are trying to cover their own end, because they didn't test the drug, so they cannot guarantee it. But we know as professionals that it is safe for you to use them. So feel free to use your anti-malaria. Preferably, it has been prescribed by your doctor. Even though you are breastfeeding, you can keep breastfeeding, because we can actually treat your newborn babies actually with the same medication. So if we can treat your baby with it, so there's really no reason why you, the mother breastfeeding, cannot take it. So you don't have to be scared. Father's girl. Okay, that's a good one. Good evening, compliments of the season. I wish you the same. My 9 month old, 19 month old has rashes all over her faces and kata. Okay, she has started scratching her face and hair yesterday. I don't know if it is it that caused it or teething, neither of them. So please avoid making assumptions when things happen to your babies. Teething does not cause rashes, and if a baby has a rash and it's associated with catarrh, it's very unlikely to be itch rash. So don't make those kind, because once you make that assumption that it's either teething or itch rash, then you're not going to seek any other solution beyond those two, and you may actually be wrong. So it's best for us, like I always say, when people ask questions about rashes, I cannot say what is the rash is until I see the rash. And since you cannot post a video or a picture on this kind of platform, it's best to post that on our Facebook group with the rashes itself. So, or alternatively, you go to see your doctor, because your doctor can look at the rash and then they can decide, okay, this is itch rash, or this is a rash from, because your baby is itching. If a child is itching, I will worry about, is it an allergic kind of reaction, because that's the one that tends to come up with itching, or is it a viral infection, because your baby also has catarrh as well. I didn't see you say anything about fever though. All right, so yeah, for example, your baby has fever, is itching and having rashes, I'll think of a viral infection. So that is how we think as doctors. So it's best we see the rash first, and when we see the rash, then so this is likely this rash, this is likely that rash. So each rash on its own doesn't tend to cause catarrh, and it doesn't tend to itch you like that, really. Yeah. So I really prefer you let a professional have a look and then advise you appropriately. I think, okay. Okay, this okay. Of course, see, Osmo is still giving me more information about your baby, that our chest is not clear. Yeah, if our chest is not clear, that means the doctor. What that means is that the doctor has listened with the stethoscope and they can hear some sounds that are not normal in the child's chest, and that worries us. So I believe you should take this baby back to the hospital, because usually for children who have just mild viral infection, it's just an upper airway infection, the chest will be clear. But once it is going beyond the upper airway and it's going to the lungs, because when we listen to stethoscope, we are listening to the lungs. If there are problems in the lung, we worry more. We call those one the lower tract infections, and those are more significant. And those are the ones that can make your child struggle with breathing and all that. So those are the ones we really want to go back to the hospital for. So, cause yeah, I think the best option is actually to go back to the hospital. Eva Lush perfume her last night because she's trained a lot. Eva Lush perfume, I think you were posting something earlier, but I didn't say it. So you started from the middle. Let me go back and see whether I'm the one that jumped your question. Uh, da, 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 da. Okay, let me just be sure. No, I didn't jump any question. Evaluate. So I don't understand what you are posting. You must have posted something thinking you've posted it, but it didn't show on this hand. So your question is not clear. So sorry, I'm always struggling with this, my screen. So your question is not clear. Do you mind reposting the whole question so that it makes sense to me? Ever Lush perfume, unless you were posting with two accounts, because you say last night because she strained a lot. And I don't even understand. I don't see the beginning. I can't see the end. Okay, let's go to Bia Geliako. Eze. Good evening. My son has hydrocele, but to my greatest surprise, no ultrasound was done. We don't always have to do ultrasound, yes. And the general surgeon said he will operate on him, yes. But I'm not comfortable with this. Why? He's 3 years old. Your son having hydrocele at 3 years old? That's very unlikely to. I'm not sure that is hydrocele. Um, 3 years, is this something your baby has had from birth? Because we tend to have hydrocele from birth and then it tends to resolve, or it tends to be operated within the first few months of life. It's not something that tends to go on to 3 years. So 3 years, I will think something else. Hernia, maybe. So you be sure. So I okay, now that's where you're coming from. Yeah, if it's a 3-year-old, I think it's better you have a scan truly, and unless your surgeon is thinking of something else, really. But if you're not comfortable, it's okay to ask for a second opinion with another surgeon. Yeah, but I'm not even comfortable with the diagnosis of hydrocele in a 3-year-old. That's very unusual. So I'm not saying it's impossible. In medicine, we say never, but it's very unusual for a 3-year-old to be having hydrocele. Is this something new? Is this something your baby has had before? Maybe you can ask, give him more information. Then higher Ayabasho. I'm not sure I got the name right. Sorry, forgive me. Please, doc. My baby is 2 years plus. What can I use to deworm him? There are so many deworming tablets, syrups, all available in the pharmacy. Just walk into any pharmacy shop. Tell them you want to buy a warm expeller. They will give you anyone. I tend to recommend albendazole. It's 400 milligram. You can give the liquid 20 mils or 10 mils, depending on the concentration, depending on the brand that your pharmacy have. But the concentration we want is 400 milligram, and it just once, and then you can repeat it every 6 months. There's combatrin. There are lots of them, so you can just buy anyone you like. All right. Uh, Show me for King. Good evening, dog. What can cause noise in a 5 months old heart? Is it the heart or the lungs? Because we don't hear noise in the heart. We hear noise in the lungs, and then we the heart, we talk about murmurs. We won't call it noise, I will call it murmur. So we talk about heart sounds and we talk about murmurs. So I really want you to clarify first, and again, it's a very general question. What noise, what kind of noise is the kind of noise that will determine what causes the noise? So if somebody has listened to your child's chest or heart and said they can hear something abnormal, it is their responsibility to tell you what they are thinking of. What noise have they heard and what are they thinking is the cause? Sometimes we are not sure what is the cause, then we want to do tests. We may want to do chest x-ray. We may want to do what we call echo, which is like a scan of the heart to know what is causing. Is there a hole in the heart? Is there something else in the heart? So you can't just say what causes a noise. What kind of noise has the person had? And usually it's not a parent that hear noise, so it's a doctor that hear noise. So if it's a doctor that has heard the noise, it's a doctor's responsibility to also explain to you, this is the noise I heard, this is what I think is causing the noise, or I'm not sure what is causing the noise. I want to do this test or that test to confirm the noise. So that's just all I can say about that. But it's very significant thing. Okay, so Eva Lush Perfume, please, what can I do? I've not understood your question. So you need to ask your question all over again, because you were saying something before and then you added some things, and it's completely disjointed. So it doesn't really make sense to me. So can you please ask the whole question from the beginning to the end? I think that will make more sense to me. Okay, Vida saying, what does it mean to breastfeed on demand? Okay, thank you, very lovely question. What does it mean to breastfeed on demand? To breastfeed on demand means that when your baby is giving you breastfeeding cues, there are feeding cues, so sometimes maybe when they want to suck, sometimes they will just start putting their mouths, as if they are looking for the breast, or they start opening their mouths, or some babies may even, they if you carry them, they start, going for your breast and all that. Those are signs that baby wants to suck. So you breastfeed the baby when baby demands for breastfeeding. So don't wait. Some others wait until the baby start crying and crying. So sometimes when the babies, they are lying on their bed, you see them using their mouths to look for the breasts, even on the bed, so you can see the baby is awake, baby is looking for food. So as a mom, watch out for those cues, and then you can hold them and breastfeed them. So anytime baby is giving you those signs, breastfeed them. We had our breastfeeding week in August, and I think one of our nurses, a lactation expert, was on live here, and she demonstrated all these things. So I would recommend, who asked that question? Yeah, Vidara, man, I recommend you go back and watch on our ATP live videos. You can, on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook page or group, you can watch that. Just go for breastfeeding week videos, you will see them. Or you can also watch our breastfeeding videos itself. There are many of them, so you can really see the practical explanation of what I was trying to describe. So most mothers, I think they know what I'm talking about. Sometimes some of you wait until they are crying, then you breastfeed them. But usually there are other subtle signs your baby start giving you before they start crying. So what we are trying to say, when we say breastfeed on demand, it means that whenever your baby is giving you sign that they want to suck, please breastfeed them. And some of you say, my baby is always sleeping, it's not giving me sign. Please, you must make sure at least every 3 hours your baby is sucking. every 3 hours. So that means in a 24-hour period, they should be sucking like 8 times minimum. They can suck 12 times, they can suck 100 times, doesn't matter. But what I'm trying to say that just make sure at least you don't say, maybe it doesn't give me any cue, then I'm not going to feed them, or I only feed them once a day. No, they must be sucking at least not less than every 3 hours. Yeah, sometimes every 2 hours as well. I hope that is helpful. Lara is saying my baby is 10 months and there's a kind of rash that come and goes at her back frequently, and the back pills. Okay, so the description you gave, there are two things that are going through my mind. One, it could be an allergic reaction. Maybe your baby is reacting to any of the products you are using on the skin. We recommend using hypoallergenic products. What that big grammar means, something natural that your baby is not likely to react to. So things like Vaseline, things like olive oil, things like coconut oil, things like shea butter, they don't have chemicals, they are natural. Babies don't tend to react to them. But some of these are nice smelling baby products. They have a lot of chemicals to make them smell nice. And that makes them, babies have very sensitive skin, so they tend to react to them. So you may want to avoid that. Two, it may be that your baby has dry skin. So you want to make sure you keep your baby skin moisturized. Also using those hypoallergenic products that I mentioned. Very rarely your baby may also have what we call atopic dermatitis. It's a kind of allergic skin condition where baby tends to have rough, very dry, rough skin. So again, that will have to be treated by the dermatologist. But even then, making sure you keep your baby skin moisturize using hypoallergenic products is enough. Sometimes, if you know what your baby is allergic to, you avoid them. Sometimes it could be food, sometimes it could be soap, sometimes it could be anything. So I think one of our dermatologists did a very lovely presentation on how to take care of your baby's skin. And so I would recommend you go to our website or to our Facebook group and go through that presentation, because she talked about what kind of soap to use, what kind of cream, what kind of product, how often do you do this, what do you do, what you avoid, what you don't avoid. So it will be nice for you. So if you do all that and the rash still keep coming and going, because that is a typical sign of a allergic or sensitive skin kind of rash. They will come, then they will go, they will come. So in that case, we want to still see a dermatologist for further treatment. All right. I think I'll need to go back to Facebook. But let me just take one more question. Okosi is still going on about her baby. The doctor say her check is not clear. I think you meant her chest. She's not breathing fast. It's just the sound she's making. Also, she opens her mouth while breathing. When a child opens their mouth while breathing, we call it mouth breathing. And that is a sign that something is blocked in the nose pathway, or something is blocked further down, and they are now trying to breathe through their mouth, and it's a sign of a child who is not breathing well as well. So I will still recommend you see the doctor again. Since your baby is not better, I think I'll be more comfortable if you go back to your doctors for further treatment. I hope that's helpful. Yeah, okay. Let me go back to Facebook, then I'll come back to Instagram. Where did I stop? Okay, yes, I remember where I stopped. Okay, I think I've answered Rita's question. Mercy, good evening, Ma. You look amazing. Thank you. My baby is 1 year, 6 months. She only wants to eat rice, gari, oats, noodles, cake, and pap nowadays. She used to eat everything before now, and she's always as overactive. She weighs 9 kilos. She looks a little bit chubby. Okay, I've assisted all the ideas of food I can think of. I don't know what else to try. Can you please allow an open house chat day where moms can tell us what they give their children to eat on a daily, so we can all learn from each other? Okay. All right. So, Mercy, we already have on our. I think you are asking from our page, obviously. So, if you go to our, unless you're on our Facebook group and showing us your name, sometimes I'm not sure where you are from, but we have on our group. If you are not on our Facebook group, I would strongly recommend to go to our Facebook group. You don't need mothers to tell you what to give your babies, because you can also figure out what to give your baby yourself, because your 1 year 6 month old should eat exactly what you eat as a mom. So whatever you cook in your family, the household pot, that's what we call it, is what your baby should be eating from. That's number one. Number two, there are principles behind feeding your babies. What you need as a mom is the principles on what to feed your baby. So your baby seems to be taking a lot of carbohydrate stuff. Number one, please, can you take out the cake out of the picture? We don't want baby eating junks. So let baby eat normal food. So that is number one. Number two, the only thing that I can see missing in this list is the protein and the fruits and the veggies. So those are the things you need to add. So your baby is already eating rice, is fine. So why can't we add maybe a little bit of carrots, a little bit of peas, a little bit of those things to the rice? The baby is eating gari, very good. Why can't we make with veggies, maybe a wedu soup or okra soup, that's vegetable, and then you make sure you add crayfish and all those things to the. So you see, what you need to do is that whatever your baby is eating, you can build other things into it. That is all. You don't need to force your baby to eat other things, but that same thing your baby is eating, you can add other things to it. So we have a concept of what we call food plates. So we have a lot of videos on complementary feeding. We have a lot of videos also made by the global health videos on what to give your baby, how to give it, and all that. So your baby is already eating. That's not a problem. What you need to do is to add what is missing. So the protein that is missing, it can come as a fish, it can come as egg, it can come as meat. You can make it into all this thing your baby is eating. The vegetable that is missing, your baby is eating gari. Why not put away do add crayfish to it? Add a little bit of palm oil. You have a balanced meal with the gari, and that's amazing. That's what you need to do. Your baby is eating oats. You add milk to your oats. You can add other things. You can boil egg on the side. You know, when your baby wants snacks, give fruits. Don't give cake. Give fruits. Give banana. Give all those kind of things for your baby to hold and to chew on. So those are the things. Your baby's weight is not so bad, even though I'm not. I'm surprised your baby is looking chubby, weighing 9 kilos at 1 year. It's 6 months. Your baby should be weighing averagely 11 kilos anyway. But I'm not so worried about your weight of your baby. I'm happy your baby is eating. What you just need to do is to add. If you go to our Facebook group, if you go to our guide section, go through the complementary feeding section, you have all this information. Or if you go to back to our past videos, just look for all those videos on complementary feeding. We've handled that. The reason why we don't allow moms to tell you what to do is because our group is slightly different. Our group is more of a professional support kind of a group. That's why we call it Ask the Pediatricians. So we want you to know the right thing, because sometimes mothers want to help you, but they help you the wrong way and they give you the wrong information. And sometimes you as a mom, you don't know how to sieve what is the right from what is wrong. Some people will give you the right information, some people will give you the wrong information. So how do you now know who is right, who is wrong? So that is why we have this platform that is for the professional now, the pediatricians, to tell you, okay, this is what we recommend. Obviously, we are not saying we are not forcing you to take our advice, but we want you to know this is what it is from the professional perspective. I hope you understand that. So we have a lot of information on feeding. I think it's the most frequently asked question on Ask the Pediatrician. So you definitely have so much information. Just go to our Facebook group, you have all this information. But I think your baby is on the right course. You just need to tweak things up a little bit. And one of the things I always tell mothers, I don't give people food timetable, and I don't tell you this is what you should use, because we all have from different cultures, we all eat different things. So what some people eat in my place may be different. What you need to learn is the principle. So I want your baby to eat a bit of carbohydrate, maybe 40 or 45% of the food should be carbohydrates, maybe 20 to 25% should be fat protein, maybe some 10-15% should be fruits, veggies, and maybe another 5% fats. We have that food plate. That is what you need to know. So it is not up to you. What do I put as my own carbohydrates? Maybe it's apple, maybe it's amala, maybe it's a bam. That is what do you have in your culture? Maybe it's rice, maybe it's that is your own choice now. Maybe some of us, our own vegetable, I prefer to use the wedu. Another person prefer to use okra. Another person, they have other kind of vegetables in their place. Use it. Or maybe your own, you like meat. Maybe it's cow meat or goat meat or crayfish or fish or salmon. It doesn't really matter. I want protein. use egg, use fish, and you can vary it. So it doesn't mean it has to be the same kind of protein all the time. So today you use this type of protein for the breakfast. For lunch, I'll use a different kind of protein. So, but once you understand the principle, then you know what you have in your own kitchen. Then you make your own food timetable for yourself based on what you eat. And what we normally recommend is that let the baby start eating what you eat as a family, because that's the best thing. And your baby will be fine. So I hope that is helpful. Good evening, Ma. Thanks for the good work you people are doing. Thank you. My 2 month old baby is having cream color discharge on the left eye, and baby is bringing ice, is bringing out water. And secondly, Ma, can a breastfeeding mother take anti-malaria drug? Okay, it's like all the breastfeeding mothers have malaria today. You can all take anti-malaria if you have malaria, no problem about that. So for the eye discharge, you need to see a doctor. You can clean the eyes. Just get a clean cloth, the same face towel, clean one, put it in a clean water and clean the eyes and wash your hands. But if the eyes is discharging, you need to see a doctor so that they can give you the appropriate antibiotic eye drop. Please see a doctor. Please don't do self-medication, because some of those antibiotic eye drop can some of the ones some of us tend to buy, they are not okay for babies. So I prefer your doctors prescribe the appropriate one for you. I don't know who is this Facebook user. I'm not sure I understand the question. So if you're in our Facebook group and you don't give StreamYard the permission for me to see your name, I won't know which of the Facebook users I'm seeing that is your home, because all of you are showing as Facebook users. So I won't know which one is yours, which one is the other person. And in the Facebook group, you will see your name and you will know this is mine, but I am not going to see it that way. So if you have posted your question before and it is broken down, post it all over again with the additional information. Don't break it. If you break it, I won't know where to join into. I'll be confused. So please try and post and make sure all your question is in one comment, so that way I will not be confused. Thank you. Okay, G is saying, good evening, my name is Grace. So thank you for letting me know your name. But I can even see your own name. Anyway, my baby is 3 months. The last time she put was last week, Monday. Before then, she stayed a week before putting here, and the poo was really strong. Today is a week and a day she hasn't put. I've been eating fruits and vegetables and fast mess. But what can I do for her to put? So maybe on exclusive breastfeeding, or is maybe on formula. I think that's the most important information I want to know. So babies on exclusive breastfeeding don't poo every day, and they can go a week without passing through. They can even go 2 weeks without passing through. So it's nothing to worry about. Don't panic. It has nothing to do with you, what you eat or what you don't eat. That is it. But when they pass the stool will not be strong. It won't be hard, if that's what you meant. Babies on EBF don't pass hard stool. It may be thick, it may be pasty, but it won't be hard. It may look like maybe it's going to pass a hard stool, like the strain and all that, but the stool itself will still be soft and pasty stool. It will never be like hard, like pellets or all those kind of things. No, it won't be that way. So, but you can let me know how you actually feed your baby, whether you're on breast milk or formula. But if you're on breast milk, you don't need to worry. If you're on formula, babies on formula may be constipated, and it is recommended that you give your babies water, plain water, not Ribena, plain water after feeding them as well. I hope that's helpful for you, Grace. Next question. Good evening. My baby of 3 weeks and 3 days always throw up from her nose and mouth after breastfeeding. And please, should I be worried? Because it's always happened. So I suspect your baby is having what we call reflux. So reflux is a common thing for babies to have. And so what we normally recommend is that when you breastfeed or when you finish feeding your baby, don't put them straight down, because the space between the stomach and the mouth and the nose is really, really, really short. So if you put them down, and the what we call the sphincter, what closes the gates between those the mouth, the esophagus, and the stomach is not always very tightly closed. So the milk just flows back the other way around, and it will come out through their nose and their mouth. So what you normally do when you finish feeding your baby, keep them straight, vertical, put them on your shoulder, pat the back, hold them for like 15-30 minutes, then before you can put them down. If you can't hold them, you can, just you can find a way of keeping them vertical. So that's what we recommend. And as they get older, it tends to reduce. And then usually by the time they start taking solid food, by the time they're about 1 year, it should have disappeared. Some babies have it worse than the other babies. So, but some babies have it so bad, we have to give them what we call breast milk thickeners. We give them something to thicken the breast milk so that the milk stays down and it doesn't flow back. But that is usually very few babies. But most babies, once you keep them upright for 15 minutes before you put them down, they will have a little bit of reflux, but it won't be so much like coming through the nose, coming through the mouth, and all that. So there's nothing to worry about. And your baby will be gaining weight well as well. But if your baby is not gaining weight, your baby is aspirating, like baby is struggling to breathe or choking, and then you need to see a pediatrician, because sometimes some babies have what we call abnormal connection between the lungs. I mean, between the what we call the food pathway and the airway, the trachea and the esophagus. Sometimes there's an abnormal connection, and that can cause those babies to have to aspirate and all that. So sometimes that's the only way we know. And but for those babies, you have to go to the hospital. But most babies, it's not that. It is just that reflux, which they was grow with time. All right. Amarachi is saying my baby of 5 months has been stooling slimy stool. People said it's because I hate okra soup. I don't think so. It's been 4 days now. There's no fever. He eats normal. When you say eats normal, what does he eat? So I always like to know what your baby eats. So when you say eats normal, after eating, he puts up to like 10 times a day. I've administered ORS. What else can I do, ma? So Amarachi, I want to know what your baby is feeding. Your baby is 5 months. So in my own understanding, a 5-month-old should be on breast milk only and no drugs, nothing else. So if you are giving any other thing else, then we need to know so that we now know how to advise you appropriately, and then we can. And then the stool, apart from this slimy, is it actually watery, or is it just thick stool with what look like mucus inside? So you need to really clarify. So anytime you ask about your baby having stool or anything, please, I always need to know anything about stool, whether it's hard stool, not passing stool, or passing watery stool. I need to know what your baby is eating. It's very, very important, because that will help me to know what to advise on. So please just always hide that information. Um, Good evening, ma'am. My 1 year old refused to eat except breast milk. What can I do, ma'am? So is it something new, or is it something that's been up? Because your baby refused to eat for how long? Is it just today, or is it something that's happened for 1 week? Because it helps us to know where to situate the situation. So sometimes babies refuse to eat if it's just something sudden. Baby has been eating well, then suddenly refuse to eat. The child may be falling sick, and that child needs to be treated. That would be the first sign of a child who is getting ill. But some people are not eating because they have this they are fussy eaters, they don't want, or maybe they've been eating the same thing all of the time and they are tired and they want to try something new. So you need to give me more information, then I'll be able to know which category your baby belongs to, then I'll be able to know which advice to give. So it's very, very important to just give a little bit of more information. Olamilekan, my baby of 1 year has been stolen greenish stool. Also for me, mucus for 1 week. I complained to a nearby who, okay, I guess maybe a nurse or doctor. She recommended ORS and flagyl, but the stool has not stopped. Should I be worried? Baby eats, but not much. She prefers sucking to normal food. Okay, so 1 year old passing greenish stool is not normal. That's the first thing. Two, a child who is having greenish stool is because baby is not eating well. And you told us your baby is not eating because your baby is taking mostly breast milk. Breast milk is not sufficient at the age of 1 year. A 1 year old should be eating food, normal food. So if a 1 year old is not eating normal food and is only taking breast milk, the baby is going to pass greenish stool. That's why we call it starvation stool, inadequate feeding. So what we need to do is to encourage this baby to eat, not to give ORS, not to give flagyl. This child does not need flagyl. So please stop the flagyl straight away, because you know why? The flagyl is actually going to make the child not to eat, because the flagyl, one of the side effects is poor appetite. So a child who is already struggling to eat, you give flagyl, the child wants to have nausea, vomiting, poor appetite. Those are the side effects of flagyl. When your child has diarrhea, please don't give them flagyl. Don't give them any antibiotics at all. The only time we give antibiotics for diarrhea is if the child is passing blood with the diarrhea, dysentery. Otherwise, don't give them flagyl. Any child has diarrhea, give them ORS. You can do this. You don't need the doctor to recommend ORS or oral zinc. You as a mother, your child has diarrhea. The only thing we want you to give your child is ORS and oral zinc. Chicken, that's all. ORS and oral zinc, nothing else. Don't give Septrin, don't give Flagyl, don't give tetracycline, don't give Diastop, don't give any of those things. ORS, oral zinc, Cefinin. So that's all you need to do. But more importantly, you need to give your baby food. Food. When babies are having diarrhea, that is not the time to reduce their food. That's the time to give them more food because they need more food. So please give them food. And please do our course on complementary feeding because I can't overemphasize this. Most mothers struggling with feeding their baby because we don't have that understanding of complementary feeding. Most of us think complementary feeding is pap and cereals. That's all. No, complementary feeding means your baby eats other food apart from breast milk, and they can eat virtually everything you eat. So I see mothers complaining, oh, my baby wants to eat adult food, doesn't want to eat baby food. And I'm like, there's no baby food, there's no adult food. Food is food. So it's just that when babies are small, we give them the food in a different texture. We give them as more soft and maybe porridge like till they are older and they're able to take it as real solid. So please don't give the don't be forced to buy anything from the store and all that. Give your baby food made from your own kitchen and feed them. Okay. And you just need, like I just said earlier, you need to make sure you put the right mix of the carbohydrate, the protein, the fat and the oil, the fruits and the vegetables. Please watch those videos because if you watch those videos of our feeding videos on our Facebook group, on Global Health Media videos, you'll find out that they deliberately did those videos using only food from your kitchen. They never use anything from the store. They want you to understand the fact that you need not buy anything to give your baby complementary food at all, nothing. So it's very important that we understand fair. I find that mothers don't have that understanding, sometimes struggle with feeding their babies. So the first thing is understanding, then you find out that it's easier. And of course, we need a lot of patience. So you don't just say, I gave them one food today, and maybe they not take it today, then that's the end. And then you go for another food. No, you have to stick with that one food and try again and again. We say you should try at least 1 week before you give up and say, oh, my baby doesn't want that. So don't rely on breast milk only for a 1 year old, and it's going to affect the weight of the baby. So these signs are giving us sign that baby is not having enough food. That's what we need to work on. So please work on that. If you need more information on how to go about this complementary video, please go to our Facebook group and watch all those videos. Ask our question. The people will give you all the links to the right places, and let's start working on that feeding. So please stop the flagyl. I would even say stop the ORS. Just focus on feeding your baby. That's the most important thing. And that's all. I hope that's helpful. All right. Our time is going now. So please, once it's 7 p.m. your time, please stop posting questions. I will try and answer the ones that have come in, but please don't have more questions. But that's not to say you can't ask questions. You can always go to post it on our Facebook group, just that I won't be able to answer them live. Okay, so I will try and be fast now. My 2-year-old always grind his teeth so loudly when sleeping. Is there a cause for alarm? Yeah, we call it bruxism. Yeah, sometimes it is an habit, but sometimes it may be a sign of another problem. So I would say see a dentist first. If the dentist say it is not their own side, then you need to see the pediatrician, because sometimes maybe grinding the teeth is actually having what we call seizures. It's just a subtle form of seizure, but we look for other things as well before we tell you what it is. So I will still worry about it. Can breastfeeding mom take lemon water? Okay, so as long as your baby is not allergic to lemon, you can, but I want to recommend that you don't try to start weight loss program or weight loss diets or weight loss supplements when you are breastfeeding. It is not recommended. We're going to have trouble. So please wait until your baby stop breastfeeding. What we recommend for now is that just eat, um, you know, you just watch what you eat, count the calories, and then do a lot of exercise. That is what we recommend. Because some babies are very fussy when you start giving them lemon. Some babies react to it and it's not good. They make them more fussy, make them more colicky. So I just generally tell mothers to, to stay away from it, really. Kind of saying my 6 month old loves putting his leg in his mouth, and he also flap his leg very well. He doesn't put weight on it. So I need to be worried. No need to be worried. That is a perfectly normal developmental milestone for babies to put their legs in their mouth at that age. Okay, Facebook user say my baby is 6 months. Birth weight is 3.5. Current weight not known. 6 months was 6.7. After brief malaria, he was on EBF. He's having recurrent boils on his head. He sucks on EBF, suck on the man, blah blah blah. He doesn't like eating complimentary food. Okay, so all the people on complimentary food have answered your questions. I will just not bother repeating myself. Yeah. Okay, exactly. This mom is actually the mom I was talking about. So this mom said this baby does not want to eat cereals and puris, but he likes to eat family food. So what tells you that your baby has to eat cereals and puris and not family food? Why then give baby family food? Because that baby is already eating what the baby should be eating. That is what you should do. I strongly recommend that you watch those feeding videos because this is exactly what I was trying to say. Mom believes that this is the baby food. This is the food baby should eat at 6 months. And then they don't want to give them the normal food. And when baby wants to eat those food, they actually think it's wrong for baby to want to eat the adult food. Really, baby is actually doing the right thing. So please give this baby whatever the baby wants to eat. The baby wants to eat normal food. Give the baby the adult food. There's no baby food. Okay, you are the one setting up the rules and you are setting up the baby to fail because what you should be giving the baby, what the baby wants, you are not giving, but you want to give the baby what the baby does not like. It's going to be a tug of war. So I'm not surprised. And the issue here is lack of understanding. There's no food that your baby cannot eat from 6 months. It's a matter of presentation. Don't your baby cannot swallow a morsel of a bar, but your baby can eat something semi-solid, porridge like the same wheat, the same rice, the same thing. You can make it in a way that your baby can hit it and your baby is fine. So please do that. And for the boys, please get a doctor to treat that with antibiotics. And you need to make sure you wash your hands because most of these boys is from our hands or the hands of other people that are touching the baby. They need to wash their hands. Oluwatosin is saying is Venticine and prednisolone safe when breastfeeding a 20 months old baby. Yeah, if you're asthmatic, you can use your medication when you are breastfeeding. There's no problem with that. I don't think it's going to affect your baby at all. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm trying to think wider, but I think it's safe. I'm not sure we ever stop asthmatic from breastfeeding here. Faithfulness saying, can a 6 month old baby take cold water? A 6 month old baby can take water, normal temperature water, not cold, not hot, not warm, normal tap water, temperature water. That is what we want baby to take, not cold, please. And can I give my baby homemade fruit juice stored in the freezer? Stored in the freezer, I guess. So when you want to give your baby, please make sure it has cooled down to normal temperature. But what we normally recommend is for things like that, what you make it fresh and give the baby. Don't avoid things that you have to store because we're not sure whether they have got contaminated and all that. So to help on the side of caution, make it fresh, give them to use, and let's hand it there and all that. But your baby can still use it though, no problem. But make sure it cools down to normal temperature. Facebook user, my baby will be 2 months on the 15th. Birth weight is 2.75, 6 months, 4.1. It throws up a lot. Okay, so this is reflux question. I've answered reflux question. There's no need to be worried. Keep your baby upright 15 to 30 minutes before putting them down. It's not just bopping. You need to keep them upright. And after that, you can now put them down. And it's something they outgrow. You don't need to worry so much about it. Okay? I'm looking for where I stop. Okay, I've seen it now. All right, I'm rushing through. Faithfulness, I was about to give my 4 month pecan, blah blah. Please don't give pecan, don't give anything, mixture, powder, none. Don't give pecan, don't give Bona Babe, don't give Baby Rex. Which other ones? All of them. I forgotten all the names now, but don't give anything. Your baby do not need any medication whatsoever. There's no need for any medication for teething. Baby bring out their teeth normally. It's normal milestones. It's not a disease. There's no need to give them any medication. So please don't. Don't. Thank you. And tell all the people that are telling you to give, because I know them, they are all here. Tell them that your pediatrician say your baby does not need them. And that's it. Juliana saying, how did I tell if my baby is left-handed or right-handed? So before the age of 2 years, baby use both hands. So they use both hands. But by the time they're about two, they begin to use one more. So usually, we talk about handedness. It starts by around the age of two, sometimes a little bit around 18 months. So you see your baby begin to use one more, and it doesn't really matter whether your baby is left-handed or right-handed. Please don't force them. Okay, Nigerian mothers on the group, please don't force your babies to use their right hand. This is not. I know it's culture, your culture. Yeah, for those of you who are Yoruba culture, especially, that if you use your left hand, you are being disrespectful. Please, it is a brain thing. So your brain, if your left brain is dominant, you'll be right-handed. If your right brain is dominant, you'll be left-handed. So just let them be. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with Yoruba culture. It has nothing to do with the respect. Don't force your children to change their hand. You are confusing them and you are creating a lot of problems for them. Let them use whatever hands they want. So, and you see, there are a lot of lovely people, presidents, all those people that are left-handed. Our former governor in Lagos says Fashola is left-handed. So please let those children be. And I deliberately take time to say that because I know mothers worry so much. Yeah, my baby is left-handed. Oh, yeah, force him to use the right hand. No, let him use the left hand. There's nothing wrong with it. So just let the baby be. Okay, faithfulness Akin, you really come for me today. Is there any particular month if you can start wearing midi diaper? I think those diapers and they write the age and the weight. So just go with it. There's no problem with that. Just go with what is comfortable for your baby's bum size. Anyway, can a baby have vaginal infection? Yes, a baby can have vaginal infection. What are the signs? Baby can have discharge, can have redness, and all that. And usually, if a baby has vaginal infection, I worry about the hygiene around the baby. So we say change diaper when it is wet, not when it is soiled. Please don't use one diaper from morning to night. And please use diaper cream, usually Vaseline. What's the other one that people use a lot? Pseudo cream. They are lovely. You can use those ones. And use water preferably. Some babies are sensitive to these wipes, or at least use wipes that have hypoallergenic. They always write it on it, it's hypoallergenic. So use those ones. Also use diapers that are cotton based, not those of them that have rubber base. Sometimes the babies are sensitive to them. So those are the things you do. If you follow those things, and please don't rub anything in the vagina. Please don't press the clitoris. Please don't apply powder. I know everything you people do. I know it because I hear it, I see it all the time. So sometimes I go above the question because I know the things other people are having in their mind that they are not saying. So please, all those grandparents that come, thank you for not circumcising our baby girls. We appreciate you for that. But please don't press the clitoris, don't press anything in the vulva, don't put dust in powder, don't put anything. Just leave it alone. It doesn't make them promiscuous. It doesn't cause any harm to the baby. You are the one causing the harm. And if your baby start putting powder in your baby's vagina or the clitoris, or they start pressing it down and all that, this kind of things can cause vaginal infection for the baby. So please don't. Thank you. All right. Maybe it's 2 months, weighing 5.8. It's put in egusi soup. That is perfectly fine. That is a normal stool for a baby on exclusive breastfeeding. Yeah, it's your baby doesn't have any problem. Facebook is that your baby is passing normal stools. So that's fine. Just let your baby be alone. Baby can pass up to 12 times a day. It's not a problem as long as the stool is not like watery. And watery for newborn babies is that their stool sink completely into the diaper like urine. That is watery for us. So if they have a little bit of water and a little bit of solid, that is what we meant by the egusi kind of picture. That is perfectly normal too. And there's no need to worry. Just keep breastfeeding your baby exclusively. Does breastfeeding and night breastfeeding cause tooth decay? No, it doesn't. What causes tooth decay is bottle feeding. That's what the dentists don't want you to do. Bottle feeding is what the dentists don't want you to do, not um the yeah. Okay. Facebook says thank you for ATP Live for 2021. Yes, we are going. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance. Thank you. And can a 6 month take cold water? I've answered this question. I've answered it already. No cold water, normal water, normal fruit juice is fine. Not the one in the store. Faithfulness, why are you asking the same question over and over again? I've answered your question. Facebook is a 4 months old. Refuses breastfeeding at night. I've tried everything. Da, 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 da. What do you mean so your baby refuses breastfeeding at night? Does your baby suck in the daytime? Because that's very unusual picture. So if your baby is sucking in the daytime, why would your baby not suck at night? So I really would prefer you have a conversation with your pediatrician. I have a feeling there's something wrong somewhere. So we need to know what is going on, then we can advise. Another Facebook user, my baby is 8 weeks on exclusive breastfeeding, blah blah blah. Weight has dropped. No, oh, when she was 1 week, yes, due to jaundice. Okay. Should I be worried about the current weight? No, I'm not worried about your current weight. Obviously, your baby was a baby preterm baby because your baby was weighing 2.2 kilos, then went to 1.9. That's not so good. But your baby is back on track and now 3.2. You need to let me know whether your baby was preterm, because if your baby was preterm, I need to adjust for your baby's prematurity. So we will look at the weights based on the corrected age, not the chronological age. So that's why I really need that information. But I'm not really worried about your baby's weight. 13-month-old weighing 12 kilos, eat 6 times a day, 3 hourly. That's too much for a 1 year old. So I think that's the very first question I answered. So a 1 year old does not need to eat 6 times a day. A 1 year will need to eat 3 to 4 times a day and have like maybe one or two snacks. That's all. So your baby is eating 3 hourly is too much. It's too much. The weight is already the weight of a 2 year old. So let's tone it down a little bit. Okay. Yeah. So I've answered your question. It's good that your baby is eating everything, but please go through our. That's why I want you guys to go through that feeding video, because we actually have how often do you feed your baby, and we have one for age of 1 year to 2 years as well. Because when we talk about the feeding, we're talking about from 0 to 2. That we call it the first 1,000 days. The first 1,000 days are the most crucial in a child's life. The first 1,000 days of life, and that first 1,000 days started from the first day the baby was conceived in the womb. So it is 9 months in the womb, and the remaining days outside the womb. So you said about some 300 and something days in the womb, the 365 days of the first 1 year, the 365 days of the of 1 to 2 years, all together make 1,000 days. Those are the most crucial period when it comes to feeding. And please, it's very important. And this feeding includes what you eat as a mother when you're pregnant, and then when your baby is out. For the first 6 months, it's exclusive breastfeeding. 6 months to 2 years is complementary feeding. Why you keep on breastfeeding, and the quantity, and the frequency changes. So what we do at 6 months, 0 to 6 months is every 3 hours, exclusive breastfeeding on demand. It's not what we do at 6 months to 1 year. It's not what we do at 1 year to 2 years. So we need to understand the difference, so we don't end up giving the baby too much food as well. Too little and too much are also bad. We want it just to be right. So yeah. Good evening. My baby is 16 months. Right eye is bringing out water. What should I do? You need to see, is it bringing out water, red, eye discharge, like pulse, or just watering? Sometimes baby can put their hand in their eyes, and it's itchy, and then it can water and last for a few hours, and that's the end. But your baby's eye is always, bringing out water, even when there's nothing, and then you need to see a doctor for the evaluation. The 7 months old is teething. Okay, how do you know the baby is teething? Temperature is high, very high. Okay, temperature is very high. Baby is having constant stooling. It is not teething. Your baby is sick. Your baby is having diarrhea. Your baby is ill. Your baby is having fever. It's having diarrhea. Please, it is not teething. And it is not what drug do I get for him. No. So, okay, so why is baby having fever first? That's the most important thing. I've not seen your baby. I'm not going to write any drugs for you. We don't work that way. So, what you can do, fever, give paracetamol. These are the first stage you can do as a mom. Fever, give paracetamol. Stooling, give ORS, give oral zinc, and then take the baby to the hospital. So the first aid is to give paracetamol for the fever, to give ORS and oral zinc for the diarrhea, so your baby doesn't get dehydrated or go into shock. Then the next thing is to take the baby to the hospital. But please, it is not teething. I worry so much when mothers make this kind of diagnosis. Teething does not make your baby sick. If your baby is sick, your baby is sick. Seek appropriate help. I can't tell you how many babies we that are brought to the hospital very sick, and the doctors we can't do anything about them. And like, madam, why didn't you come yesterday? Why didn't you come 3 days ago? And they say it's teething, because when somebody think it's teething, you are going to go and buy teething drugs, because that is what your fellow mothers will prescribe for you. Is teething? Go and buy pecan. Go and buy baby Rex. We are going to lose the baby from diarrhea. And then people wonder, why is diarrhea killing African children? Diarrhea should not kill any child, because we can treat diarrhea. We just need to give ORS. We just need to give oral zinc. That's all. And baby will be fine, you know. So it's because of this kind of assumptions. Mother think, oh, my baby is having diarrhea, is having fever, it is teething, then I'm going to go and buy teething drugs. It is wrong. Your baby is not teething, your baby is sick. We need to do the right. If you don't get the right diagnosis, we're going to give the wrong treatment, and we're going to not get it right. So I really, really want, if that's the last thing you're going to get from me from 2021, please remove teething from your diagnosis. There is no diagnosis that is due to teething. Teething doesn't cause any fever, doesn't cause diarrhea, doesn't cause cough, doesn't cause rashes, doesn't cause nothing. I know you people like to argue with me about that, but it doesn't cause it. Whether you believe it or not, it does not, because it's not only in Nigeria that we have babies. So it's not only us that have teething diagnosis. So babies bring out teeth all over the world, and they are not making teething diagnosis for them. So please, when our children are sick, let's seek the right help. Let's avoid making wrong assumptions, because it's going to lead to consequences we don't like. Sorry if I'm being hard, but I always like to drive home that point, because it always gets me very worried when mothers say that. Okay, my baby of 6 months is breathing is noisy. So a pediatrician gave Ventolin, oxygen, steamy, still noisy. You have to go back to the pediatrician. How old is your baby? Your baby of 6 months. Wow, that's sound like bronchiolitis. Then with introduced family food, is also passing greenish. So please keep breastfeeding even when you are giving family food, and please give breastfeed on demand. Don't stop breastfeeding and give family food. The two must still be going on together. And if your baby is still having noisy breathing, you need to go back to your pediatrician, because there may be more going on there for your baby. All right, I'm almost done now. Daniel, my baby is losing weight. If your baby is losing weight, I need to know what was the weight before and what is the weight now, so that we know whether we agree first that the baby is losing weight. Because I usually don't take the word my baby is losing weight alone. So I need evidence, objective evidence, show the working. So please let me know. But your baby is ill and healthy. What could be wrong? I don't know, but you've not even given me any information. The information I need, the weight, how old is your baby? What was the weight before? What is the weight now? And then I will decide whether, because some people have asked me a question, maybe he's losing weight, and maybe he's 2 years old, weighing 17 kilos or 15 kilos. I can't remember now. And I'm like, yes, your baby should actually lose weight, because your baby is already even overweight. So I always like to know this kind of information, because you may think your baby is losing weight bad, but the baby is actually losing weight for good. Because if a baby is already weighing the weight of a 5-year-old or a 4-year-old, and now baby has lost weight, I am happy that your baby is losing weight to come back to normal weight. So that's why it's very important that we have that information, so that we don't even end up giving wrong advice. So Daniel, if you want to ask more information, you can put the weight of your baby now and the age of your baby. Then I will tell you whether I'm happy with the weight or not. And then I'm happy your baby is hale and healthy. But hale and healthy is your own observation as a mom. It may not necessarily be a pediatrician's observation. So there are two different things. So we always like to have more objective evidence to be able to tell you, so that if I see the weight, then I can tell you whether I am happy with that weight or not, and then I can tell you what to do. Your baby is 9 months old, has not yet bring out any teeth. Is this normal? It is perfectly normal. Some babies do not bring out their teeth until they are 1 year old. So no, don't worry about it. So Joy, my baby is 3 weeks. Voice is cracked. Oh, you people have allowed this baby to cry too much. My baby finally got to cry for 2 days. He grunts. He pull like 10 times a day on EBF. Your baby is fine. The stool is fine. They crying. I don't know. Maybe baby cried a lot. Sometimes they cry so much and they break their voice. Please don't allow them to cry too much before you answer them. But don't worry, the voice will come back. Don't panic. My baby is 12 weeks. He sweats a lot at night. The back of his clothes was cold. Da, da, da. Although he will be sniffing because of cold at midnight if I dress him light. And okay, so let's start by saying your baby sniffing or having catarrh on runny nose is not because of cold. They can have viral infections, ARI, respiratory infections. So if your room is too hot, please reduce the heat so that people stop sweating. And that is not what is causing babies to be sniffing at night. So, because I think mothers struggle with between that balance. So, you worry that if you don't dress your baby too warm, they are going to have cold, and then because of that, you now complain that they are so sweaty and having itch rashes. And I always also struggle to explain to mothers that babies having cold, catarrh, and all that is not because of the weather. It is from another child or another family member who has got catarrh and cold, or sometimes even things in your room. If the room is too stuffy as well, they can actually even get irritation and all that. So dress your baby light according to the weather. Let there be ventilation in the room. Let them be sweaty. It's okay to use your AC. It's okay to use your fan. Let's just clear that one. So, but the most important thing is to make sure that the baby does not come in contact with people who are having cough, catarrh. Don't spray in your room. Don't cook close to the room. Don't use like fry oil or things that generate smoke. Don't put your generators close to your bedroom. No, those things like that. Those are the kind of things that irritate children's nose, that make them to have all those catarrh and all that in the night. If it's only in the night, the question is what is happening in the night that is not happening during the day. And those are the things I'm telling you now. People fleet their room with mosquito coils or mosquito insecticide and all that. Irritates babies. Some people, maybe they've cooked in the kitchen, it's very close to the room. Those are or some mothers carry their babies to the kitchen when they're cooking, and it also irritates the baby. So those are the little things you need to think about and rid of. It's not the heat. It's not to make babies so hot that they are sweating so much. It is not. So try and find a middle balance. I know it can be hard, but that's what we need to do really. If your baby's back is scaly, is dry, use okay, you are using Vaseline. Okay, good. That's fine. Just keep using the Vaseline and use it frequently. And then if it doesn't go away, maybe your baby have what we call eczema, atopic dermatitis. Sometimes you may need to see a dermatologist for further management. I hope that is helpful. How many times a day should a 4-month-old baby eat? A 4-month-old baby should be on exclusive breastfeeding, breastfeed on demand, nothing less than 8 times a day, every 3 hours. I hope you catch that. Can a husband suck the breast of a breastfeeding wife? Does it have effect on the baby? It doesn't have any effect on the baby. The husband can suck, but please let there be enough breast milk for our baby. So I usually recommend that when you are breastfeeding, your baby is a priority at that time. I beg fathers, let our baby have the breast milk. Don't let the baby now be starving because the father is the one taking half of the breast milk, and you are more, your sucking is more advanced than the baby's own. So please, let's give the baby priority at least for that time. But it doesn't mean that it's going to affect your baby in any way. As long as you're having enough milk for the baby, it's your choice whether your husband suck or not. That's your choice. Maybe it will be 9 months, EBF. Okay, so you need to go do our complimentary feeding course. I think I've spoken a lot about that. If you have been listening to me, you must have heard me say that. Baby 30 weeks old, 1.3 kilos, now 9.5 kg. Should I be worried? No, I'm not worried. Your baby's corrected age is actually maybe about 13 and a half months, 13, which is about a year and 1 month. 9.5 kg is a good weight for a 1 year old. Usually it should be 10, but 9.5 is very close. So I'm not worried about your baby's weight. What can be done to prevent malaria? What can be done? Please, the best thing is to prevent the mosquito bite, but not baby has had mosquito bite. There's nothing we can do. We just wash and pray that the baby doesn't have malaria. If the baby has malaria, we treat the baby. But what we want to do is to prevent what has happened. Please, we don't want the baby to be bitten by mosquitoes. So please let the baby sleep under insecticide treated, long lasting insecticide treated net. So please use the net for the baby so that the mosquito does not bite the baby at night, where the mosquito usually bite at night around that evening time to early hours of the morning. That's the period when mosquito bite. So during that period, please wear clothes for your baby that covers one cyst at the best, covers their hands, cover their legs, so they are completely covered, and then using insecticide treated nets. They will be fine. Mosquito will not bite them. And if you're living in mosquito area, make sure you clear the bushes around your area. You can flit your room, but please don't keep the baby in the house. Make sure that you keep the baby away. Make sure the room is well ventilated, all the smell and everything has gone before you bring the baby back. So the most important thing is to prevent the mosquito bites. Once the bite has happened, we just hope and pray the malaria doesn't happen. It is not every mosquito bite that leads to malaria. It is only mosquito bites of an infected mosquito. So if a mosquito has not bitten somebody that has malaria, the mosquito can bite you, but you won't have malaria. So for a mosquito to bite you and for you to have malaria, it means that mosquito has bitten one person in your house or outside your house who has malaria, and then that mosquito now bites you and now transfer malaria to you. So that's the only way it will happen. Okay, so first one is you have to be on our Facebook group to see our complimentary feeding videos, or you can download this app, Birth and Beyond. Let me write it out. So if you download that app, all the videos are there by Global X Media. They have all the videos on that app. I think I've already shared that app before on our Facebook group. So this app, Birth and Beyond app, it has all those videos on breastfeeding, videos on complementary feeding, even the care of preterm babies, everything is there. All the global health media videos, they're on this app. And they even have it in languages like Yoruba language. If you are the type that you don't like to hear in English, you will see it. I think either Yoruba or Hausa, they have it in one of those Nigerian languages. So you can download it. But if you go to our Facebook group and ask anybody, they will show you where to find it in our group as well. Or you just Google it. It's on YouTube as well. Just Google Global Health Media videos or breastfeeding video. You will see them. You may see other ones too, but if you want the one for Global Health Media, you can download the app. I hope that's helpful. All right. I think have I finished? Okay, I think I've answered this one. Yeah. When should I stop cleaning your baby's belly button? When it is healed, no more red area, no more anything that is when you should stop. So you just bath it normally and clean. When it is normal skin, it look like normal skin. There's no discharge, there's no redness, there's no wound, then you can stop. All right. Daniel, okay. Daniel is asking, your baby is 10 kilos last month. She's 10 months old. You say why I need to ask, well, you say why I need to know the age of your baby. So your 10 months old is weighing 10 kilos. And you say your baby is losing weight. Your baby is not losing weight. Your baby's weight is fine. Your baby's weight is fine. Your clothes are loose on her. See, for us, the most objective thing is the weighing scale, not the clothes. Whether the clothes is maybe from watching it has stretched, I don't know. So, but your baby's weighing 10 kilos is the weight of a 1 year old. So if a 10-month old is weighing 10 kilos, I am not worried about the baby. And that baby is not losing weight. In fact, that baby's weight is more than okay, because baby should actually be weighing like 9 kilos or 9.5, but baby is already weighing 10. So I'm not worried. See, that's why I always like to have objective evidence before I comment. I always want to know. So I'm not worried about your baby. Your baby is 2.8 and it's already weighing 10 kilos at 10 months. Your baby is perfect. Okay, so don't even start worrying about your baby. Don't go and introduce something else. Don't go and look for what is not lost. There's something wrong with your baby. Okay, weight is 10. Can a baby that is 10 kilo at 9 months be suffering from malnutrition? No. Okay, so please, I think I'm getting a lot of questions that shows mothers don't know what is the normal weight. So we have a website, askthepediatricians.com. There's ID weight. What is my ID weight? And these days, you have no excuse for not knowing this information, because there are a lot of apps. There are a lot of, just Google, I want to know my baby's weight. They will just say you put your baby's date of birth and the weight, and they will tell you whether it's fine or not. So you don't have any excuse for not knowing this information. You can download apps that can tell you that. You can read it on our website. The weight of a 9-month old is 9 kilos. The weight of a 1 year old is 10 kilos. The weight of a 2 year old is 12 kilos. The weight of a 3 year old is 14 kilos. The weight of a 4 year old is 16 kilos. The weight of a 5 year old is 18 kilos. That is it. I have a lot of formula for those of you who like mathematics, for how you can work it out. But in your immunization card, for those of you who remember your maths, there is a graph there, and they always plot your baby's weight, and you can trace the vertical one, the weight, the age of the baby. If you trace it up to the vertical, to the the vertical, if you trace on the horizontal one, that is the age of the baby. Trace it up, go down to the vertical, you will see what it should be. So you can also use that one, or you just pop it onto Google, and those apps will come out. There are many apps that will tell you the weight of your baby. So please don't panic about that. You can learn, you can know it, you can calculate it. If you don't want to calculate it, just pop it into Google. They will give you the information straight away. So your baby of 9 months weighing 10 kilos is normal weight. There's no reason for you to worry, but your baby should eat. So you have to go through. I have a lot of tips of feeding tips, because it's one of the same mothers struggle with. And don't worry, in 2022, I will also start the year by, we go through again how to feed our baby. We go through complementary feeding all over again, because I look through our group topics and it is the most frequently asked question on ATP. How do I feed my baby? My baby is not eating. So, and it's because sometimes, like I've seen some of them today, most of us don't have the right understanding of what it means to actually feed our baby. We are all fine at breastfeeding, but once we get up past breastfeeding, we're all struggling. So we're going to go through that again. So please, for the meantime, go through our complementary feeding, read all our tips and all that. So that's fine. All this stretching a lot, I always like to know what you mean by stretching. A video will be helpful. I want to know whether it's normal stretching or whether it is having seizures. Fatima, Okay, I think have I gone to? Oh no, I think I've gone past it. Okay, so please stop asking questions. I think my time is gone. Good evening. 2 months old, weighing 5.8, 3.5. Okay, I've answered this question. That is normal. Okay, so I think I've done with all the people on Facebook. I think I'm done with you. I've gone beyond the normal time as well. So I'm already 7 p.m. Stop asking questions. I think I even done to 7. I didn't say it on time. I hope I didn't leave out Instagram people. Okay, yeah. Let me just see whether there's any on Instagram. Instagram people just enjoy listening, which is good. Okay, Lush Perfume say my baby is 6 months, 10 days. Weight is 3 kilos. Birth weight is 3 kilos. Current weight is 8.7, which is good. I'll be giving her pap and Nansu as complementary feeding. He's finally got to pull because so your baby should not just be on pap and milk. I think I've said that a lot today, so let me not repeat it. So your complementary feeding is not pap and nan, okay? It's not pap and milk. Your baby should have fruits, should have veggies and all that. So I would recommend you also go through our complimentary. I'm sounding like a broken record now, but because people really need to understand this, and for your baby, you need to understand how you mixing your pap and the formula. You need to make sure you mix it appropriately. But more importantly, your baby needs other things, and you should still be breastfeeding as well. So if your baby is I have a feeling that maybe the way you are putting the nan is so concentrated in the pap, and that can give your baby constipation. And your baby also need to drink water. From 6 months, they need to drink water. So those are the correction you need to make. And then that's that. Okay, Biagali is saying, okay, your baby has one of the scrotum looks swollen, but this seems okay at night. Aha. If your baby's scrotum is swollen and okay at night when it's lying down, that doesn't sound like hydrocele. That sounds like anemia. Anemia is what can reduce. Hydrocele is water. It's not going back anywhere. Anemia is what comes out and goes back. And at 3 years, it's most likely anemia. So make sure you have a conversation with your surgeon. Make sure you really understand. Maybe they're using the word anemia and you are the one that taking hydrocele. So make sure you get it right. I'm not, I'm not there, so I can't comment. So your doctors knows what they are doing, but I'm just telling you what my own experience as a pediatrician is. 3-year-old, I will think hernia. It is going back, I will think hernia rather than hydrocele. All right. And Ibukun Aresanya, my baby is 15 weeks, 7.7. He likes to be put in sitting position. He tries to carry his shoulder up. There's nothing wrong. If your baby is trying to put in sitting position, put in sitting position. That baby is ready to do it. Hey, Valois, please don't be putting, we don't like you doing that. We don't like you putting anything in the baby's anus. What you need to do is to address is the feeding. The feeding of your baby is what you need to address, and the constipation will go. Is it normal for a 8-month-old to be choking on food? It is never normal to choke on food. Whether newborn, 8 months, 2 years, adults, nobody choking on food is ever normal. It is not normal at all. So you need to take your baby to the hospital. Why is baby choking on food? Is baby rushing the food? Is there something wrong? So we need to know that. So, but it's never, never, never normal. So please see a doctor. We don't recommend putting menthol on baby's nose to clear their nose. We don't recommend that. Some babies are allergic, so that's the honest truth. Okay, Wasila. Okay, how can I make my 10-month-old baby to eat? She has never shown interest in food from 6 months and now. Okay, you also go to our, we have a lot of feeding tips even on our Instagram page. If you just go through and scroll through all our pictures, you see a lot of feeding tips. Start using some of them. But I find that if you go through the understanding of complementary feeding first, some of these issues will struggle with food with stuff itself, because I find that sometimes it's a lack of understanding of us mothers, really. Miss Gracie, my baby of how can I give another feeding food? Okay, fine. We've already answered these questions. All right. I think you've answered. Okay, so you've already got to the answer. That's good. Geo Jobby, good evening. When can I start bathing my baby with room temperature water? From day one, you can actually bath them from room temperature. Baby doesn't need to bath with hot water. They don't need to bath with cold water. They just need to bath with room temperature water. So, which means it's the water that when you put your hand inside, that's where I always tell mothers, because you can't be putting your thermometer inside water. But I tell mothers, if you put your hand inside water, you can leave your hand there. You leave your hand there. You are not rushing to put your hand out. You are not rushing. You can leave it there comfortably. That is the normal temperature water that your baby should be using to bath. If you put your hand you are rushing to put it out, it's too hot. If you're putting your hand in, it's too cold, you shouldn't use that. So any water that you can put your hand in, and you can put your hand there for 30 minutes, no non-stop, without any issue, that is the normal temperature water. And we pediatricians talk about tepid water. It's when you bring water from the tap, that's the kind of temperature that you should be using. So that's what we recommend. Right. I can't see the next question. Okay, Joby, your baby has a la and it's gone now. Good. But there are spots from the rashes. How do you get rid of the spots? So if there are still spots there, then the rash itself is not gone, because those spots are still part of the rash. I know people think the rash is the For us, when we use the word rash, we use it to describe everything, including the color changes. It's still part of a rash. Even though mothers don't see that as a rash, they see it as, oh, it's just a change in color, but it's still a rash to a doctor. So it means the rashes have not gone. So you need to see a doctor who can prescribe appropriate medication for that part of it, that discoloration. Okay, Vida is saying, how do you relieve pain? How do you give pain relief from immunization? Paracetamol is good. Paracetamol is what we recommend. And you can give the paracetamol every 6 hours for 2 days, 3 days is fine. You can do that. Uh, da, 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 da. Udo, thank you. Thank you. Some people are complimenting me. Thank you. Sorry, time is gone. I won't be able to read all that. Oh my goodness, I can't see the question again. Da, da, da. How can I stop my 8-month-old from sucking her fingers? So it's an habit. Most of them will stop, but you can put something in their hands. Just put like toys. Let the baby play with toys. So when the baby is holding something in her hands and playing with it, it will not want to suck the hands. All right. Is it wise to win my 16 months or so she can eat other food? No, that's not the solution. So we encourage to keep breastfeeding for up to 2 years. So you're maybe not eating, it's not because of breastfeeding. That's another misconception. It is not the breastfeeding that's making baby not to eat. It's the way we have been going about the complementary feeding. It's the way we present the complementary feeding. It's what we are giving the baby. It's the way we introduce baby to them. Let's not make feeding like a war zone for the babies. We'll talk about that. I think I think that will be my first topic in 2022, so that we will just deal with feeding again, so that we'll go through it. I think it's been a while I went through it all over again. Yeah, if teething doesn't cause diarrhea, you say then a coincidence that babies have diarrhea when they are teething. It's not a coincidence. I can tell you why babies are having diarrhea. So teething is an innocent bystander. So the teething is happening at the same time that other things are happening. And it is not normal that babies should have diarrhea. Some babies have diarrhea because of some reason, which I will tell you now. But not all babies have diarrhea. I've had 3 cases of my own, so they don't have diarrhea when they're teething. Because we need to understand why does baby have diarrhea. So when babies are teething, they tend to put things in their mouth because they want to itch their gum. So most mothers are not very careful at that time. In fact, some mothers actually think it's a good thing for them to play with sand and eat the sand. That is normal. I'm sure you've heard of such before. That is nonsense. And those are the way babies introduce germs. So babies are introducing germs into their body. That's number one. So what you need to do as a mother when your babies are teething, make sure you clean the floors, make sure you wash their toys, make sure you sterilize it and give them something to bite on, but that it is sterilized. When it drops, you bring it up, you sterilize it, give them a new one. Don't let them be taking dirty stuff and putting it in their mouth. That is number one. Number two, 6 months is also when mothers stop exclusive breastfeeding. The exclusive breastfeeding is what protects babies from infection. So mothers stopping exclusive breastfeeding, some of them think complementary feeding means stop exclusive breastfeeding or stop breastfeeding and go another food. So babies are not sucking as much. So that protection from breast milk from all the germs is going. So that's why we say don't stop breastfeeding. Don't even reduce it. Keep breastfeeding like you're breastfeeding. You're only adding other food to it. That's number two. All your antibodies that came to your baby from when you were pregnant, when your baby was born, they are wearing off at 6 months. So this period is a period when your baby's inherited antibodies are going away. The baby needs to develop his or her own. The baby is bringing out cysts. Mothers are stopping breastfeeding. They are being careless. Baby is sitting. Baby is touching everything in the surrounding. Baby is putting everything in their mouth, getting themselves exposed to danger. But at the same time, mothers are withdrawing breastfeeding. Babies are being exposed to germs. People are not being careful with hygiene and all that. That is why babies have diarrhea. It has nothing to do with the teething. If you do all the right thing, your baby will teeth and you will not even know. You will just see the teeth. So I always tell mothers this: if you don't understand that, so it's a combination of many things going on at the same time, but it is not the teething itself. The teeth is just a structure coming out. It does not make your baby sick. What makes your baby sick is those other things your baby is doing that you are not taking control of. So make sure you clean your baby. That's the time you wash their hands. When you are putting them on the flat surfaces, you clean it. Some babies will pull up their diaper and be putting them. Mothers will be looking at them and say, oh, it's normal. It's normal for babies to eat their stool. It's normal for babies to eat sand. It's normal. I know I grew up in, in Yoruba culture, and I'm remembering as how my parents used to think about it. It is not normal. So please, let's take advantage. If your baby want to bite on things, and they bite on anything, even if it's dirty stuff, they bite on it, they introduce germs. And yet their antibodies are waning. Mom has stopped breastfeeding, or she's not giving as much breast milk. There's nothing protecting the baby. That's why some babies are falling sick. But if you keep on breastfeeding your baby, maintain hygiene, wash their hands, even the water you are giving. That's also the time people that even the people that give the exclusive breastfeeding, that's the time they start giving water too. What are we giving? Pure water. Some of these water are contaminated. We're the one. That's the time we start giving them adult food. If we are not taking good care of hygiene, the adult food, you have to prepare it fresh so that it doesn't get contaminated. So that's why some people introduce bottle with the bottle feeding. You want to give pap, you give it inside bottle. The bottle is not properly washed, it's not properly cleaned. Is Some babies will suck a little bit of pap, the mother will put it down. When baby is ready, he will go and pick up the next that same pap that has been left over like 1 hour ago. All the bacteria have multiplied. You just give the concussion to your baby, then maybe we have diarrhea. Then you say, oh, it is the teething. It is not the teething. So I always tell mothers, no bottle feeding for complementary feeding. Use plates, cup, and spoon. Wash them. Make the food fresh and give the baby. What baby does not finish, eat it yourself or throw it away. Seriously, it's better to do that than to give your baby a concussion of bacteria, because that's what you do. Immediately you leave the food, the bacteria are multiplying, they're multiplying. And then the next you carry it again and give the baby. So those are the things causing the diarrhea. So we know why baby gets sick, but it's not because of the teething. But what we need to, but because teething is happening at the same time, oh, it must be the teaching. It's not. So if you take some of these corrections and do it, you find that your babies will not be sick at all. You and mothers do testify of that on ATP. So you just wake up, you see the teeth, and the teeth is there. So you don't need to worry about your baby sick. We just need to make sure we are doing the right thing at the right time. Okay, tin oil. My baby is 2 year weighing 12 kilos. Your baby's weight is fine. Your baby is not underweight. 2 year old, 12 kilos is fine. That's the perfect weight for a 2 year old. All right, I think I'm done. All right, yes, I know you shouldn't be worried. Oh, Tina, you asked a question several times. Thank you. I've answered it now. Um, your baby does not chew food. Yeah, so some babies don't like chewing because at that time too, their molars are, so don't worry. But what you need to do, make sure you cut the food into tiny pieces. The most important that baby does not choke on the food. So if a baby is not chewing, as long as they are eating porridge like food, soft food, small pieces food, and they don't choke on it, it is fine. The food will be digested. As they get older, you can encourage them to chew and demonstrate it, model it. Those are, we just encourage them to do it. The final question. Thank God. Empress, maybe it's 5 months. She's teaching. Oh my goodness. Okay, I think today is the teaching day. Empress, I think you are just coming because if you have been listening to me, I'm sure you will not ask these questions because I think I've dealt with teaching enough today. Okay, so please don't. There's not your baby is teething. It doesn't make your baby sick. Okay, if your baby has temperature, give paracetamol. It is not teething. Okay, give paracetamol. If the baby fever continues, please see my colleagues in the hospital. It's not the teething that's making your baby to be sick. I really, really want to end on that note, but I also want to emphasize the fact that please don't, let's not make a diagnosis of teething in 2022. Let's just end with 2021. If your baby is sick, just tell us what is wrong with the baby, but don't tell us what is causing it, because 9 out of 10 we are wrong. When mother says my baby is teething, my baby is teething, 10 out of 10 they are wrong. It is not the teething. And we pediatricians will worry about you saying teething and not coming to see us when you should. So please don't. See your doctors and let them treat your baby if you feel that. But you can give paracetamol. That's the first aid for you as a mom. Can I give your baby whole egg in a pap or the yolk? You can give the whole egg. You didn't tell us the age of your baby, but you can give whole egg. Thank you. We are finished. I've gone beyond time, but I think I just want to, because today is the last day for you to see me live for 2021 answering this question. Today is the last Monday for ATP Live on Ask the Pediatricians. So once again, thank you so much for all of you who have watched. And remember that you can always rewatch the videos on our Facebook, on this Instagram, our IGTV page. You can watch it on our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is ATP TV, TV with double E, ATP TVEE. And our website is www.askthepediatricians.com. The videos are there as well. our Facebook group is there. So you can go there to ask your questions from Mondays to Saturday. We actually break for every year we break so that all of us can have a break as well. So from 19th of December, the group will be there, the website will be there, but our moderators and all our professionals who have worked so hard are going to take a break for 2 weeks. Is it 2 weeks or 4 weeks now? I'm going to take a break for the rest of the year, and the first, I think, 10th of January is when we are coming back, so that we also have time to spend with our family and our loved ones and enjoy the Yuletide. Please, if you have questions, you can search our group. I doubt there's any question you're going to ask that we have not answered. I mean, maybe not fully, but at least we would have answered part of it. So please search our group and find the answer by yourself. But if you can't find the answer, please go to the hospital. And doctors work during the Christmas holidays. We work on New Year Day. We work every day of the year. There's always a doctor in the hospital. So I don't want to hear, oh, it's because ATP is closed or it's because there is holiday. If your baby is sick, please don't wait. Go and seek appropriate medical intervention. And I know that our baby will be fine by the grace of God. So thank you so much, everyone. I love some of you. Show me for King. I think you are the most consistent person on Instagram, and a lot of people are like that also on Facebook. I can't see some of your names, but I know you've always been there. And thank you so much for being part of ATP in 2021. We will share our magazine with you, I think, early January, and then we will see you all by the grace of God in 2022. So enjoy your Christmas and have a healthy and happy 2022. Bye bye, everyone.